Whoa, mama. It's Dry January, number 4, the final one. I was almost about to say Florida February, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
Trevin, wow.
And my name is Trevin.
And my name is Amanda. And today we are joined by two of our favorite new podcast friends. Do you want to say hello, everybody?
Hello, everybody. I am Heather.
And I am Rachel. We are like mother, like murder.
Yes, like mother, like murder. We actually met them at the True Crime Podcast Festival in Nashville.
Wasn't that CrimeCon? Not
It was CrimeCon.
Oh, what did I say?
True Crime Podcast Festival.
Oh, goodness, yes, CrimeCon.
I wish I was at that as well.
Yes. They're both great. Sorry, CrimeCon is where we met them. And it's so good to see you both again.
You too. We're excited. We've been texting about this all week. We're just very excited to come on here and just enjoy company.
Yes. That is what it's all about.
Yeah, podcasts. Just enjoy company.
Enjoy the company.
I mean, your guys' company, absolutely. That's for sure.
They were actually like our biggest fans at CrimeCon because we were nervous. That was our first year having our own table there. And you guys just kept stopping by and taking pictures and seeing how it goes for us. And it was really nice to have you as our anchors during that time.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
I was afraid I overdid it because I have been a listener of you guys for the longest. I am a huge true fan, now friend. So it's
Right.
it converted. But when I got there, I was like, I don't know if I'm doing too much.
You can never do enough. You can never do
Okay.
enough, in my opinion. So,
Good.
yes. No, we love the energy and love the love. So before we jump into dilemmas, do you want to tell our listeners a little bit about your podcast?
Yeah, Heather would love to.
I'm the same way. I'm always like, Trevin, you want to start us off?
This is the same thing she did at CrimeCon where Tenderfoot was like, oh, come pitch your podcast. And she's like, Heather's going to do it for us. And I was like, what? I am?
You're very good at this.
I mean, I try, but I literally just copy what Rachel writes. So we are like mother, like murder. We cover all things mom crime related. So we do a lot of missing mothers, murdered mothers, mothers who murder. We do cover that. Survivors. We have a lot of like mom survivor stories, a lot more. And in general, like 95% of the true crimes we cover are mom related, but sometimes we sneak some other things in there. And when those get a little too heavy for us and we want to just lighten the mood a bit, we have some fun segments like our ABCs of Crime, which is probably more in line with Live,
you
Laugh,
guys.
Larceny stuff where she picks the most random, like hilarious.
Which we did at Florida one. So if you need to listen to that, there's a lot of Florida stuff.
Oh,
She did a whole Florida one. And then we also sometimes do the good, the badass, and the crime, where we just pull some headlines that relate to good, badass, and crime. And we usually, for the crime, pick some kind of redonkulous, petty.
There's a lot of heavy, and we do need to incorporate lighthearted and something else to kind of just keep us in the right headspace too.
For sure.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure.
That's what we try to be here for all of our other friends who do the straight, heavy stuff all the time.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
it can be a lot, I'm sure, especially because you're dealing with mothers all the time. It's like, oh, my heartstrings.
Oh, yeah. Every
Absolutely.
episode.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Our shows would actually make a really great pairing. They can listen to yours first, then come laugh with us after.
Yes.
I love it.
Totally.
That's what I do. I record and then I go listen to you guys. That's what I need.
That's so good. So we are going to be sharing our dreadful dilemmas with you all. And Trevin, would you like to start us off?
Sure. I actually have a small little one that I thought related well to this very motherly episode that we have going on. And I recently watched a movie on Hulu called Nightbitch. Have you guys watched this?
I
No.
have not, but I saw the trailer for it. And I was like,
I've
what
not even
is
heard of
this?
it.
Oh my God. I watched it last night. So I'm curious to see what Trevin's going to say.
I really wanted to watch it because I knew it was based off of a book, and it's actually very based about mothers and being a stay-at-home mom and how hard it is to be a mom. And I had read an article about it and it really piqued my interest, but then I saw a bunch of little ads about it that weren't really explaining that. It kind of just looked like a movie about Amy Adams turning into a dog, and I was kind of confused by it. I read some different reviews and people were really hating on it because they said they thought it was supposed to be like a horror comedy movie. And they just said this movie sucked because it wasn't a horror movie. But it actually has a lot to do with motherhood and being a stay-at-home mom. And I thought it was really interesting. I said, Amanda, you have to watch this movie because some of the characters we write, it really shows how the dad in these situations can be from like a mom's perspective. But it also has a really artistic twist with the whole turning into a dog angle of it all. But it's a really great movie. And I think for you two, you should definitely watch it as moms. I think there's probably at least one thing you're going to relate to a lot.
All right. I got to put that on the list. I don't watch very much, but this is intriguing.
No, put it on the list. I think a lot of people were hating on it because they're taking it too seriously. I was telling Trevin there were parts of the movie where I was laughing. There were parts that were really heartfelt. I know a lot of people think the dog part is silly. I personally loved it. I thought it was a really fun metaphor talking about how she needed to let out the beast. You know what I mean? Like, she's got that dog in her, you know? I loved it. But I could see how some people, if they are taking it way too seriously, yeah, they probably wouldn't like it. But it was so relatable to me. I stay home with my girls and then I do podcast stuff and my murder mystery stuff. But I'm at home, you know, with this young kid. So I could relate so much to this movie. Holy crap.
All right.
I know how a lot of you moms don't get in like the world of pop culture, so you don't know what movies are good. So I know this one got a lot of bad reviews and stuff, but if you don't watch a lot of stuff, I think this would be really relatable and kind of on brand for you guys to watch.
All right. I'm on it. What did you say it was streamed on? Which one?
Hulu.
Hulu? Okay.
So it's on Disney also.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Awesome.
we have
It's also just really funny too. If you're not looking for something in the mom realm, it is also just a good comedy movie too. We were talking, it reminds me kind of like American Psycho, how like Patrick Bateman would say things about how he wanted to murder people to their face, but they never reacted to it. So you're always like, is he saying that or not? Like it was like that, but with a mom saying mom things to people's face.
Like the most real and raw, like inner mom thought. She would like say it out loud and people would just over their head and you're like, yeah, I get it. I get it. Like, yes, this is my life.
I love that. And it just has an amazing name, the title. I'm ready for it.
Nightbitch. It's very wild, kind of weird, but I loved it.
Yeah.
So I also have a dreadful dilemma. And I wanted to ask you, Heather and Rachel, what state do you live in?
I am in Kentucky. She's in California. We were both in California. I ditched her and moved cross country. And that's when we became even closer.
Okay.
Wow.
Or I should say spend more time together now, not closer.
I thought you lived in separate states, but I just wanted to make sure. Are you okay with the fires going on, Heather, then?
Yeah, it was funny because when we were talking about it, I was like, should my dreadful dilemma be the fact that I'm surrounded by flames? Or is that just like too much? No, well, honestly, we are very lucky where we're at. We literally do at any given point over the last week have had 3 to 4 fires within 5 to 10 mile radius. But where we're at, I think with the winds blowing the way they're blowing and the fact that the valley is literally surrounded by freeways, which that is like a barrier. They want to make sure it does not jump the freeway. We actually are even so lucky that we haven't even lost power, whereas I know a lot of people in the area have. The shopping center right across the street was one of the first places to lose power when all this broke out, but we're safe. We're good. Just keep California in your thoughts, though, because if this wind continues, it's not looking good. Hopefully it dies down soon.
Oh, my God. I have been checking for updates on that constantly because it's just so sad.
Oh, so sad.
Well, we're here in Missouri, and the weather here has been kind of crazy, but in a totally different way.
Opposite way.
Yes, it has been downpouring snow. We had a blizzard, like they literally called it a blizzard. I haven't seen that on my weather app, I don't think. The dreadful part is that this is the first time my daughter has had an entire week of snow days.
Are you okay?
Right? Amanda, I am right there with you because it's the exact same here. And my daughter's been home this entire time as well.
And how old is your daughter?
She's 9.
Oh, yes, that's right. But yeah, the entire week. And luckily, my parents don't live too far from us. So my dad watched them for one day. But every other day I've had them. And yeah, I need a break.
That's your inner monologue coming out right now.
Yeah.
Totally.
Nightbitch 2 is coming out very soon.
Straight up, like me at the table. I'm just like, Actually, that really isn't too far-fetched for me. I do like to break out an opera at the table. But no, the amount of projects and snacks and fits and all the things that I've dealt with this week are just a lot. So that had to be my dilemma.
Totally.
That's a big one.
I've heard a lot of people say this.
I mean, we had fun. Don't get me wrong. We went sledding in my backyard. We tie-dyed a shit ton of clothing.
That's such a good idea.
Oh.
Tie-dye.
No, tie-dyeing is like one of my new favorite craft things that I do with them. I need more white things to dye, though.
Yeah. That's so good.
I tie-dyed some of my sweatpants and they look so cool. But yeah, so much. And it's just really nice to be sitting here talking to adults without my children running around me.
Who can absolutely relate to that as well, because Heather's had hers home. I've had mine home.
I had mine home for a couple of days. I have a 5-year-old and a almost 3-year-old.
Okay.
And with the fires, the whole school district shut down. I had my 5-year-old home at one point, and the amount of crafts. She's just a craft queen. It was just one thing after another.
Craft snack.
And I luckily, every time I go to Target and they have like some of those crafts just past, like it was Valentine's Day. So now they're, on the clearance. I just get all of them. I just have a stash of crafts because it's like, you want to do it here. And she's old enough now to like look at the picture and like follow it. And I'm like, okay, I can breathe.
That's so constructive. I love that.
No, it's so real. I have a whole crafting drawer in my kitchen. Because I want them to sit at the table and be contained, Yeah. I have a whole kitchen drawer that I'm just like, oh, here's the markers and the crowns and the stickers and the...
Totally.
Make yourself busy.
Yeah.
Any parents out here listening that want something that's going to entertain your kids for a little while, and it's really easy to do, what I did is I took a bunch of my daughter's tiny little toys, like little Barbie things, little bracelets and stuff of theirs, and I put it in water and froze it. And then once it was frozen in a big block of ice, we took it out of the tub and I gave them a few little instruments in the sink and they just like melted it and tried to get all their stuff out.
That's so smart. I have like a million of those little figurines and I throw them away because I just can't. But now I should just keep them and throw them in a thing of ice.
Yes, it's the easiest thing. Just put a plug in the drain so the little toys don't fall down there. But yeah.
Oh, smart.
Did the floor get wet? Yes. Were their clothes completely soaked afterwards? Yes.
Yeah. But did you have 10 to 15 minutes to sit and enjoy your coffee?
Yes. I sure did.
Anytime you cannot reheat a coffee is the best.
Yes. So do either of you have any dreadful dilemmas other than what you've already shared?
Do you want to go first, Rachel, or you want me to go?
I can. Mine also has to do with my daughter being home for this week. So it kind of segues into that. And it has to deal with the fact that we are so very different. I was into sports growing up. I was climbing trees. I was physical and dirty and all of these things. And I still am more of a tomboy rather than a girly girl. My daughter is the definition of a girl's girl. She is all about skincare. She's all about makeup. She's all about routine and organization and anything that I am not. So with her being home right now, her favorite thing to do is give me a makeover. And
Very nice.
It is nice, but the dreadful part is the comments that come out of her mouth about my imperfect skin or I'm red or what is this mark or my chin hair or things like that.
And they can be brutal too. They're like, Mom, what is that on your face?
Yes.
Kinsey has no filter.
And she has the biggest heart, but it's hilarious. She's like, okay, come sit in my chair. And I'm like, can we at least pretend that I am a client and not your mother and you need to be nice to me? Because it is harsh.
I have a feeling if this girl ever became like an esthetician or cosmetologist or anything, she would be just as brutal with her paying clients.
I was going to say, she sounds like a dance mom the way she talks to you.
And I don't know where she gets it from. She's definitely not. It's funny because she's not mean. She's real. And that hurts.
For sure.
Truth hurts because she's like, did you bring the tweezer to your appointment? I'm like, if you don't just stop it. That's where I'm at. I am ready for her to go back to school. I want my routine and my normalcy back, and it's just better.
Like, stop trying to pluck my chin hairs and go get an education.
Exactly. Like, it's mandatory. Get out.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not a bad interest at all.
Yeah. It took a lot for me to not try to shut it down because it was different. I had to like embrace it and be like, how do I support her through this? Oh, I sit in the chair? Oh, no. Oh, no.
I know. That makes it harder to support when she's personally attacking you.
Yeah. You're going to grow a thicker skin, and damn, it's going to look great.
I can't wait. Heather, what you got?
So mine, of course, is also mom related. Both of my children at this point have decided that there is a single episode of a single show that they want to watch over and over and over. I kid you not, in the last like 2 weeks, we have watched this same episode morning and night. And so at first I'm like, this is great. They are agreeing on something to watch. I am going to completely support this decision. Oh, you guys both want to watch this? Heck yeah, let's put it on. And now a whopping 2 weeks later, I'm like, can we agree on anything else? Like,
what is the show?
So it is Sophia the First, Cauldronation Day. It's a Disney Channel show. She's a princess. She becomes a princess overnight. See, and that's the other dreadful dilemma part of it, is it's a musical show. So every single song is stuck in my head all day. It's this episode where she has a witch friend who's becoming a midnight witch. I kid you not. It's so bad that my husband, the other day, he texts me and he goes, today is the day for the Cauldronation. And I write back the rest of the lyrics. We're going to have a midnight witch do the broomstick. And I'm doing the whole Disney, don't sue me. Okay. It's like, obviously my rendition is horrible. But like, we want to foster the camaraderie of a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old actually agreeing on anything in life. But at the same time, if I have to watch that episode one more time, I will lose it.
I cannot relate harder to that.
I actually have always wondered if this was a thing for the newer generation. As a kid, I grew up with my little brother, and he would always want to watch either the same video, like literally actual VHS of Teletubbies, or it would be a literal video of Dora the Explorer where they went to Tall Mountain. Where are we going? Tall Mountain. And it's just, you always know that one. That was back when we had, VHS and didn't have streaming services. So I didn't know if maybe a more modern mom could get past that and just flip on any episode.
Oh, no. That is still in the modern day.
It doesn't change when they're older either, because mine, she wants to watch the same movies over and over, and I have to put an end to it.
Yeah.
I buy her makeup and send her to her room.
There you go.
It's hard because it's like almost like a comfort episode. You're like, I know what's going to happen. This one is more so with my younger one, but there's some conflict in it where they're fighting. And you see the concern on her face every single time. And I'm like,
right.
You know the ending. I don't... Why? But she's concerned. She's very concerned. It's been really tough.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I actually heard somewhere that there was some sort of a study that proved that when kids are growing up and they rewatch things, it actually really helps them with memory and things like that. But it doesn't make it less annoying for the parent who has to be present.
It's like an inverse relationship where the memory ability of the child and the sanity of the parent is just an inverse.
Yes. It's like, did you include that part in your study? I don't think so.
You did. There's a covariate you should have thought of, buddy.
First of all, thank you for sharing your dreadful dilemmas with us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, today we came up with a game, and Trevin told me that I could go full out mom today.
Yes.
He was like, this is dry January. Do not limit yourself. Because at first I was going to try and tie it all in to like...
It was something with crime and serial killers and moms.
Yeah.
Yes, I was going to do like a quote where you had to choose if it was from a murderer or a mother or something like that. But he was like, no, you never get to talk about mom stuff. I want you to just have fun this episode. We're going completely off of what we normally do and just having some fun. So Before we start this game, I just want to recap. So, Rachel, you only have your 9-year-old daughter? Is that?
I have my 9-year-old daughter, and I have 3 stepsons who are 13, 15, and 18.
Okay, dang.
And do they live with you?
The oldest lives with me, and the other 2, we moved to Kentucky to be with them, and they moved back to California. So
no.
Life is great.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so the 2 youngest of my boyfriend, they moved back to California over summer, but the oldest does live with us.
So you have a teenager and a 9-year-old,
Yes.
in your home.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, drastic differences. Okay, and then Heather, you said you had a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. Is that what you said?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so your kids are actually very close to mine. My 6-year-old is my oldest. And then my baby, she's still 2, but she's going to be 3 in April. Almost 3, right?
And I say 3-year-old, she doesn't turn 3 for another 2 weeks, but
there you go.
She's close enough.
Still counts. Yes. Okay. I just wanted to kind of talk about where we are in our motherhood journeys, where we're at before we start the game, just so anyone listening can kind of get a gauge of what age groups we're currently working with and where we're at.
And I am a father who's bringing up a 6-year-old young lady and 3 cats.
Yeah.
Love it.
And don't worry, I think this is our one and only game where we're not keeping score. This is all about opinions.
Oh, okay.
So we are going to be playing today WWMD. What would mamas do?
Yes. Love it.
This is the game where we describe a terrifyingly relatable motherhood situation, and we each answer what we would do.
Ooh.
So it's very simple, just a really good conversational game. And basically how I wrote this is I started from pregnancy, working our way up to when they're a kid.
Love it.
Just to see how you would handle each of these scenarios.
I love that.
Do you want to read the first question, Trevin? Or the first scenario?
Sure, I will give our first scenario. For scenario 1, you take a pregnancy test very late at night while all your loved ones are sleeping, assuming it's a false alarm, only to see that it's positive. What would you do?
I would laugh.
A few of these I put in because they directly tied to something that I've been through. Some of them I've never been through, but some of them I have. While you're thinking, let me just tell you that this did, in fact, happen to me with my second pregnancy. And so I wanted to know what you all would have done compared to what I did. Everyone was asleep. We already had our first daughter. We had been trying to have another kid, but it was like 6 months and it hadn't happened. And I just happened to have a pregnancy test and took it like really late at night, right before I was going to go to bed. And that's how I found out, all by myself, middle of the night. I ended up surprising myself, and I was able to keep it to myself for the night and surprise my daughter and my husband with a gift later the next day.
Cute.
But what would you do? Would you have to wake up your partner, or could you do that?
I feel like if it was my first child, like my first pregnancy, I would have immediately woke him up. There would have been every single exciting moment, and I would have just been like, I got to get this out. I can't. Like, oh my gosh, it's happening. This is my real life. Anytime now, no. I'd be like, oh my gosh, what in the world? What do I do?
Like, are you a person who, when you hear news or something, just you can't help but react loudly? I'm not one of those people at all.
No, that's Heather.
That's me. I was going to say.
Like, just by reading it, you just like a tea kettle, just like you just couldn't hold it in.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at holding things in or not immediately reacting, but it really does depend. And I feel like that I would.
I'm usually the tea kettle.
Yeah, I just couldn't imagine being that way, like not being able to hear that without reacting out loud.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like a weakness in conversation sometimes.
I love it because Heather's always just going to pop off.
Yeah. I'm definitely reactionary in that way. With our first, we had been trying for a long time. We both knew it. I took a pregnancy test because I'd been taking them regularly, like every month. I found out during the day while he must have been at work or something. And then I didn't even know how to like tell him, which is crazy because I'm usually full of words. I texted him that pregnant lady emoji.
No way.
I never knew that.
we were in bed together and I just couldn't figure out how to tell him. We were sitting there watching TV at night and I just texted him the pregnant lady emoji and he goes, what the hell happened? I was like, I'm sorry, I took one today. And the second time around, I also kept it a secret, which it's so funny because you first said this and I was like, I would totally say it. And then I was like, wait, I didn't though. In either circumstance, I didn't say it. What I did was I had she was 2 at the time. I had her bring him like the positive.
Oh.
So he's like, what is this? And then it's so funny because she goes, it's mine. And she starts running away.
She's like, my pee stick, out of here.
And then he was like, was that a pregnancy test? I'm like, yes. And he goes, you're pregnant? I was like, yes. So that one worked out. I guess when push comes to shove, I'm not a good communicator.
She's like, I don't know, pregnant.
I never knew that she did that. Yes. So
that is
funny.
hysterical. But I see what you're saying, how it's different if it's your first or your second or something. Because the first time I was with Jordan, we were actually randomly in New York City because we were cool before we had kids. We had money. We could go places, you know?
Totally.
The second time I was able to keep it together, which Trevin knows this. I don't keep things in either.
Not well.
Not well.
Not well at all.
Is the emoji thing how you communicate mostly at home? Like if your husband doesn't clean up after himself, do you just send him like dishes emoji, angry emoji? And it's like, why haven't you talked to me in a week? And you're just like, dishes emoji, angry emoji.
What I actually do now, because it's way more hilarious and I feel like more telling, whenever we get a really good picture of one of our daughters, and maybe this isn't the best way to do it, but whenever they're like in a really bad mood and they're crying or they've got an angry face or they're yelling, I have pictures of those moments. And whenever I want to convey an emotion, that's what I send to my husband.
Yes. Oh my God. I need to start doing that. Like keep a folder just of angry
exactly
children faces.
It's your own personal memes. I love it.
It is. It's exactly. They're very personalized.
Just to give my 2 cents, if I were a woman who could be pregnant, I would, because me with any type of news, if I knew everybody was asleep, I am so like demure about bothering people in their sleep that I would just like internalize it and go to bed and then be like, are you awake and feeling ready to hear news today? If you don't mind
so
me telling you.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Can you handle this emotionally? What I'm about to say to you?
That's about how I do most things.
I didn't go through that. I found out I was pregnant in the hospital while I was sick. So I didn't know before. I feel like when I responded, I'm like, that didn't come from personal experience whatsoever.
Wow.
I'm like, I think
so
I would
you
do
didn't
that.
even get to announce it. Someone announced it to you.
Yep. They were like,
Wow.
well, we can't give you that medicine because of your condition. And I'm like, and I've got plenty of
my
conditions, but which one are you referring to?
I got 99 conditions.
And a pregnancy wasn't one of them, but it was.
Wow. So many different ways. Well, let's move on to scenario number 2. You find out you're expecting and you've only told a small group of people. After you tell your parents, your mom asks if she can tell her friends, coworkers, neighbors, and post about it everywhere online. What would you do? First of all, can I just say this is not something I experienced? My parents would never.
I was going to say.
No. Like I said, only a couple of them I was like, oh, I've been through this. My parents have always been very respectful. If I only wanted a certain amount of people to know, great. But I know how some parents are.
Yeah.
And they're like, I want everyone to know I'm going to have a grandbaby, or I want everyone I know to come to the wedding, you know?
Oh, man. What would I do? So my mom is not like that. And my dad has never had a social media in his life. My mom, she would tell some of like her close friends, but I feel like I wouldn't tell people until I was ready for the majority of people to know anyways. But if they came with me with that, I would probably be like, no, and now you're cut off. You can't meet them. No.
Actually, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Like, I would make sure the expectation was set and just say, this is privileged information for a small amount of people.
Yeah.
Do not let it get out. And if I hear it come back, then the information train stops and they don't come to you anymore.
Yeah, you got to have those boundaries for sure. And it's unfortunate that there's so many people that are that way.
Yeah, it's definitely a boundaries thing for sure.
I've actually had a friend in that situation where she told her in-laws, who went and told the entire family, and she showed up to a barbecue, and unfortunately, very, very unfortunately, they had a miscarriage. And so she had to explain to everybody at the barbecue, like, actually, I'm not pregnant anymore. She's an incredibly strong lady, and she's very happy with 2 kids now. Everything is fine. But when the next time rolled around, they did not tell the in-laws until it was like very clear that she was very pregnant. But for me, it was funny because when you read that question, I was thinking, my mom has no friends. I
hope she's not just finding out about this.
Like, my dad is the social one between the 2 of them. And don't worry, she doesn't even listen to my podcast, so she's not going to hear this. Between the 2, my dad is the social butterfly and my mom keeps to herself. But she does have a very extensive family. For me, I would immediately say, kind of like Trevin said, I set the boundary. I'm telling you, you're not to tell anyone until I tell you it's okay.
Right.
And if they then ask, well, can I tell so-and-so? I'd say, what did I say?
What did I say, Mother?
I told you no.
The thing that sucks, though, too, is I feel like all of us are at an age where we understand boundaries a lot more. And when this situation probably would be happening to you, you may not have as well.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
You needed a much younger perspective instead of this male one. Damn.
I just know that's been a problem for some people.
Totally.
And that sucks. The example you gave, Heather, is like the literal reason why people want to wait. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Trevin, you want to go to number 3?
Scenario number 3. As you are grocery shopping, a stranger comes up to you in the produce section and asks to touch your pregnant belly.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I'll tell you. No. No. I came this close to getting one of those shirts that says, do not touch, when I was pregnant. I don't know what it is about a pregnant lady's body where now all of a sudden the whole entire world thinks that they have the right to touch you. Get away from me. And I mean, no offense or whatever, but it is the older generation. I never had women my age coming up, unless they were my sister-in-law and my friend and, you know, whatever. But it was the older generation that would come up and just be like, oh, and I will tell you, it was not a grocery store. It was Michael's. I walked in. It was my second baby. When it's your second, and you can probably attest to this, Amanda, your belly gets bigger faster.
Yes.
You may only be 4 months, but for whatever reason, it's like how you carried at 6 months with the first one around.
Yes. It's like your body knows, so it's like getting the jump on it for you.
Exactly.
It's so weird.
And I walk in, I'm probably like 4 months. I'm showing and everything. But this lady decides to say, ooh, you look about ready to pop.
Oh!
Where do people get the nerve?
I'm still preheating this oven. Like, we missed a few steps, but thank you.
People are bizarre.
I was just like, and I just kept walking because I was like, I can't. But I immediately start texting my husband, guess what just happened at the...
I'm going to Hobby Lobby now.
Yeah. No more Michael. That's why you get all your crafts from Target, is because you don't go there
done
anymore.
with Michael's.
People leave you alone in Target.
Yeah, Target, we won't touch your belly.
Something about my pregnancy was I was very, very sick. I was on bed rest almost my entire pregnancy. I didn't have a lot of experiences like that. And when I was out, it was with my family. So I was never bothered. When I see other people or I hear about this, it aggravates me because I don't like to be touched in general. So I'm just like, if someone did approach me in that way, I'd be very vocal. Like, you need to back off immediately. Don't do that. But the older generation, and this is not related to pregnant bellies, it did make me think. We went to church Christmas Eve, and my daughter, we walked into this church because my family just moved out here and they wanted to try this church. We walk in, and this lady, older woman, comes straight up to my daughter, full on, like everything you've ever seen in a movie, pinching the cheeks, grabbing her hair, looking at her eyes, and she goes, "Don't touch me."
That's right, girl.
I was so proud. And then she looks and she goes, "Why did she do that?" Like, when she walked away, and I said, some people are nuts. Some people are nuts.
Seriously.
Wow.
Yeah. But like, great job for your daughter being like, I don't know what you think this is.
Yeah.
But we are not in a Hallmark movie.
I would like my space, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, your daughter's better than I am, because if it was me, I don't know how many times people corner me in a weird situation like that. And I'm just like being kind and nice about it until it's over. And then they just kind of go away. And then I'm like, I hate that person forever now.
Saying that was me at CrimeCon when I literally ran through the lobby when I saw you guys. I'm like, come to me.
No, you're fine. I knew who you were, but especially if it was somebody touching my belly, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you came up and you were like pinching our cheeks,
Yeah, exactly.
that
Like face and
may
stuff.
have been
Yeah.
a little too much.
Yeah, next time.
Now I would accept it.
Yeah.
It's hard. I wish that I had my daughter's like boundaries and braveness from such an early age. I do a lot more now. But when I was
Mhm.
pregnant, if I was out and about, I don't think I would have let anyone touch me.
I may have had a stranger touch my belly. I don't know if I necessarily did, but I had a lot of people coming up to me trying to predict the gender and like
Ugh.
talking to me about it.
Ugh.
But after I did have my first in a Walgreens, Lila, she was like a newborn and we were in Walgreens getting something. And I think she was sick. This older woman comes up and Lila was crying and crying and crying. And she was just like, do you want me to hold your baby? And I was just like,
Ew.
no.
I'm telling you, it is the weirdest thing. I have literally had that happen. So I'm like, I don't know you.
See, it's
Yeah.
weird. I know this is crazy, but I feel like I would be that person because I was at a CVS the other day and this mom was trying to help her daughter through getting like a shot. They
Yeah.
were there for something and she's trying to juggle one. The other one doesn't want to get the
Yeah.
shot. I'm in literal tears because I just want to help her in any way that I can. I am like, I will support you through the rest of your life. Like that's
Yeah.
how I felt in that moment, but I couldn't do it because I know
Right.
what's the norm of like, don't ask that. So I didn't, but then I felt guilty about it later because I'm like, I know if I was like that, depending, like maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to read the situation. In a situation like that, I have definitely seen it before where I've got my own kids in the car. She's dealing with it. I can see she's struggling to find. I have offered, did you need a wet wipe? Did you need
Yes.
something like that?
Yes.
And I feel like it's a little less intimidating and weird. I mean, I'm sure the older lady may have been a mom at some point too. When you know, like it's a fellow mom who's like, I got you, girl, because I'm right there with you.
Friends, yeah.
Yes.
I was out at lunch with two of my friends. My daughter was fine. She had been happy in her high chair for a while and then she got fussy. So she came out and I was pretty much done eating. I was just like snacking. I was holding her. And this older lady comes over and says, well, you can't possibly eat with her. Go ahead and give her to me. And I had two of my
Very
friends
capable friends
right
sitting
there, capable friends with me that if I really wanted to, I'm like, here, take this baby.
Right.
And even with my first, I was a little less so. If it's someone I trust, I have no problems going, can you
pass the baby. Yeah.
It was weird. I was like, I don't know you. And I have two people right next to me that could totally take on this responsibility. Like, it's a little creepy, like a little
Yes.
bit.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. Yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
golden rule is just don't be too eager.
Yes.
And I didn't even tell you guys, because in your situation, Rachel, where you were feeling bad, that makes sense. Where
Totally.
there's two of them, one mom, but this was a situation where it's just me, just one baby. And I didn't even tell you after I said no the first time, like, no, we're okay. She's just, a little fussy. She asked me again, like twice to hold
yeah,
her. And I was
no.
like,
Yeah.
this is giving me the craze.
Yeah.
Totally. Exactly, Trevin, is like the eagerness is a little like,
Why do you want to hold
Sus.
this baby so bad?
yeah, for real.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about you on an episode. Please walk away, ma'am.
We kind of talked about people trying to guess the gender, and that kind of goes into scenario number 4. So, everyone keeps guessing the gender of your baby and asks if you will have a gender reveal party to announce it. Your doctor then asks if you want to know if you're having a boy or a girl. What would you do?
Oh, I would say, yeah, let me know. And then I'd hold it over everyone's head. I got so petty. My hormone level and my petty level went like hand in hand when I was pregnant because I got so irritated with certain people being like, you look like you're carrying a boy. Oh, I think it's a
yes.
boy. The way that you're standing and the way that your belly is.
Yeah, whether it's lower or your hips or your
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
which isn't usually a
Or
compliment.
they'd be like, oh, your skin looks pale. You're having a boy. I'm like, okay, so you're just going to sit there and you're just going to insult me and then
Yeah.
like try to predict my future? What is this?
you look like a swamp thing. It's going to be a girl.
Literally, because they'll be like, girl, still your beauty. Looks
Girl,
like you're
still
having
your
a
beauty.
girl.
Thank you so much, asshole.
I would totally find out from my doctor, and then I would let everyone know, oh, I know. And if they say, tell me, I'd say, suck it. No.
Yeah. Was that like a thing with your inner family? Was everyone like, is it a boy or girl? Is it a boy or girl?
His mom and my mom really just was wanting to know. And it was annoying because my mom, I know, and I think his mom, I was like, y'all didn't know until we were born. You guys did not find out what your child was until they were born. So why?
Oh, so they
Yeah.
chose to keep it a secret or wait?
Well, like back in the day,
They couldn't.
they couldn't always know. It definitely wasn't as accurate. I know
Right.
when my mom had my brother, I don't think it was as common back then for people to find out.
Mm-hmm.
For mine, I didn't find out the gender until both of my daughters were born.
That's beautiful. I love that.
But it killed everyone around me.
Yeah.
Literally, it killed everyone around me. When I say I had to put in a gender thing in here because I experienced this. Now, first of all, I totally understand why people find out. I totally get it. I even was kind of leaning towards wanting to know with my second one beforehand, but my husband was like, hey, we didn't find out with the first, and that was really cool. Like, what's another round, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so we went with that. But I get why people do it. I love throwing a party. I get why people throw a gender reveal if they want to, as long as they're not starting a wildfire with their explosives.
Right? Oh my God.
Do what you do. But we didn't really care, obviously, boy or girl, whatever, didn't care. So we were like, let's just let it be what it is. But I am telling you, my mom and her best friend, I love both of them. Her best friend is like a second mom to me. They would both be messaging me like, can you just ask your doctor and then they'll just tell us and you won't know and we promise we won't? And I'm like, no. Why must you know this? Why?
Oh, come on.
I feel like you should have just kept it going. Like after you had your girls, like just continued to like keep them covered and like only like they just wear a onesie, but it's the same thing that has a hood so they can never see. You won't know until they're one.
Like Michael Jackson, where he had the baby with the blanket over his face all the time.
Please don't hang the baby over a thing.
Emily and I have talked about this, and I think we would want to know, but that's just because for me, I'm a person who likes to mentally prepare a lot for things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like, this is going to sound really bad. If I was going to adopt a dog, I would like read a lot of books about how to train a dog. But then if somebody was like, oh, I'm going to give you a new dog in a month, do you want to know what breed you have? And then I would want to also know like what the quirks and things about the breed are. So then I could learn more specific things like that. So I think it's kind of important to know for me mentally. I don't want to get invited to a concert tonight that I didn't know about. But if you tell me a week in advance, I feel like I can handle it a little better.
You're the prepper.
I don't like surprises, I guess is my thing.
Fair.
I imagine both our sets of parents would be crazy about wanting to know, which I think I would want to know for me to prepare, but I don't think I would care to tell anybody else really.
Yeah.
No big
Yeah.
deal.
Did you find out, Rachel? Did anyone care?
I did find out I'm a very big people pleaser, and my mother-in-law, she really wanted to know. I didn't have like a firm decision on it one way or the other. When I was pregnant with my daughter and we did know, I did say that the next time around, like, I don't want to know. And then I decided there will never be a next time around.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to go through that. But I
hear
probably
ya.
would have tried to not, if we were younger and set boundaries earlier on,
Yeah.
then maybe I would have.
Yep.
But people are definitely in your face about it.
It's crazy how much others could care.
It is.
I get if you yourself want to know, that's totally whatever. But the outside world caring that much was so weird for both of us. We're like,
Mhm.
if we're not worried about it, why are you? It was weird.
Mhm.
I was very fortunate when I was pregnant that one of my uncles, he is an ultrasound tech. And so he would go do home visits. And so he would have his like machine where he could just like touch my belly whenever. So I got to see her all the time.
Oh,
And so
that's
he
so
knew
reassuring.
very early on. I would say like,
Yeah.
don't tell me.
Yeah.
I don't want to know yet. But then I want to say probably 20 weeks. We did a little dinner, cut a cake. We didn't do anything big, but found out it was small. Yeah.
That's cute. I love that. And even though we waited, my husband, I think I may have said this on our podcast before, that when my first daughter was born, he actually got it wrong because it was such a long and traumatic and crazy birth. We were both so sleep deprived. He saw the umbilical cord, thought it was a penis, and I had to get an emergency C-section because it was so crazy. Anyway, long story. So he announces out, it's a boy. And all the doctors, the surgeon, everybody, the lady who had the oxygen mask, they were all women. And they were all like, no, it's a girl. And it was just so ridiculous.
That is hilarious.
Change your expectations.
He's like, you want me to cut what off?
Oh, God. So, even when you do find out, sometimes you still get it wrong. So, like, who cares?
Yeah.
You know what? You got a kid. It's going home with you. We all have girls, by the way.
I know.
It's kind of funny
That
to
is
say that. Girl moms.
wild. I love being a girl mom.
I love it. I recently went to a birthday party. It was actually a birthday party for my niece, but she has an older brother. So there was a lot of little boys there as well. And every time they did something absolutely whack-a-mole. And I swear, my younger, she's a daredevil. Like, she gets herself in these situations where I'm like, oh my gosh. But these little boys, I'm like, I could not handle.
Oh.
I can't. And I'm sure it's different if you're parenting them from young and you're seeing them progress in their ridiculousness. But I had like mini heart attacks like every 10 minutes watching these boys literally tempt fate.
No, straight up. We have 2 nephews and they're a lot older.
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot older, but one of them's like a teenager and one of them's 10 or 11 or something. Anyway, my husband, Jordan, he's like, this is the perfect example of how different they are because he would say like, I love you, he'd be cuddling our daughters. He'd be like, I love you. And they'd be like, love you too, daddy, whatever. Maybe they'll make a silly joke here or there, but it's pretty sentimental. When we go and hug our nephews, though, he went up to him and he's like, I love you guys. And they just like farted. Yeah. Like they just let it rip. And he was like, okay, he loves being a girl dad just because they're so much more kind.
My husband, too. When we found out the second time, because everyone's like, oh, do you guys want a boy? Like for your second one? Because we already had a girl. And he's like, it's fine. But like, I wouldn't mind having 2 girls. Like he told everyone that. And then when we had 2 girls and they're like, but now your husband wants a boy. I'm always like, no, actually he doesn't. He's really happy with his 2 girls.
Yeah. It's like not every man has to have a son. Like, what the hell?
Everyone has that misconception. And now you guys are going to try for a boy? Actually, no, we're not. Oh, because you don't want one? No, actually, my husband also is just very happy being a girl dad.
Yes. He got a vasectomy because we're done.
Same.
I was like,
oh, yep. Yes,
yeah.
girl.
It was a lot of, oh, you don't want to try for a boy. No. I have done this whole thing. Twice. I'm good.
You're trying to get something that you don't have as much experience with. So you know it's going to be rocky and you're going to be tired by that point.
Yeah.
So
Really?
it doesn't seem logistical to me. I don't know.
And you're trying. And guess what? It doesn't matter because your odds are the same. And what are you, a girl? Oh, let's try again. Another girl? Let's try again. Another girl? Okay. What the hell's
It's like,
happening?
how many kids do you want to raise? It's expensive out here. Is it my turn or your turn?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, it was mine. We got off track. Okay. Scenario number 5. In the middle of intense birthing contractions, your nurse tells you it's almost too late for an epidural, saying you have to decide now if you want it. What would you do?
I didn't go through this either, guys.
Did you have a C-section?
I had an emergency C-section. Going into wanting to have a child and wanting to be pregnant and looking forward to it, I didn't get any of that stuff that I wanted ultimately, unfortunately. But it's like I wanted to have a natural birth. I wanted to try to do it that way. So I feel like I would have told them no, but I'm not opposed to it. And if I was screaming and hating every second, okay, pump me.
Yeah.
Add it in there, baby.
Like, whatever you gotta do.
Just trying to smile.
So was yours a scheduled C-section? Like you always knew it was going to be? It was an emergency one? Okay. My first was an emergency. My second one was scheduled. So completely night and day.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wanted to go the epidural free route with my first. I was in like a birthing tub, pushing and pushing and pushing for hours and hours and hours, no pain meds. I think I pushed 6 hours at the birthing center. Ugh. And then when they transferred me to the hospital, because I was like, something's not right. Like she's stuck. Like I'm telling you. They didn't believe me and made me push for 3 more hours at the hospital until they finally I was like, if I am telling you to cut me open, please do.
Seriously.
And so they finally did, and her head was stuck in my pelvis.
Oh my gosh.
From that experience to my scheduled C-section was like a dream, like very chill.
Yeah, so different.
And it's so crazy because I used to have these conceptions in my mind of like, all natural birth, like blah, blah, blah. Now I'm like, get the fucking drugs.
Yeah.
Get the drugs. Be relaxed.
Yes.
It's so painful, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That was one of the big misconceptions that a lot of moms also told me. They were like, if they tell you it's too late, tell them to be quiet, because it's a big misconception.
Yeah.
The best advice I heard is, look, if you think that you are physically capable enough to sit still long enough for them to do that, because that's the difference, right? Is if you are in such close and bad contractions that you can't sit still for at least like 5 to 10 minutes or however long it takes for them to do it, then it's technically too late, because that's dangerous. So they were like, as long as you think you can sit still long enough for them to get it in, it's never too late. It's never too late. And so I went in knowing, oh, that's good to know. But of course, I had the same idea. I'm going to see how a natural, I would like to try to do this natural. I'd like to have that experience. And then I said, but I'm not opposed to it because, you know, I want to do what's best for myself. And then the day that my water broke, we're in there and the lady asked, do you want to try natural or are you thinking epidural? And I said, well, I want to see how far I can go. If I can go, great. If not, you know, I'm not opposed to it. And she goes, you're getting an epidural. Like, she literally laughed at me.
She LOL'd in your face.
She knew. She's like, I'm just telling you, I'm glad that you're open to it or whatever. But if that's something like you're dead set on, like you have to be dead set on doing that natural, because that pain, like you said, is insane.
It's unbearable.
So when I went into my second one, I walked in and they said epidural. I said, hook me up. Like, let's get this show on the road. Because the second time around, everything's moving so much faster. By the time I made it into the hospital, I was in major pain already.
Yeah.
But it was so funny. The first time, you know, I had made it all the way to like 3 centimeters without anything. And my husband kept asking, do you want to get one? And I was like, well, let's see how far I am. Because if I'm already at like 8, 9, then F it, let's just keep going.
Yeah.
And they came back in to check me. They're like, you're at 5. I said, hook her up. I'm not doing this. This is crazy. And that's what I tell a lot of first time moms, is because, like you said, your body doesn't know what it's doing.
Right.
So yeah, I had a similar situation where I was pushing for hours, and even with an epidural, I was exhausted. And you just don't want your body to be in this state of exhaustion when it actually comes time to go. Like, you should listen to your body. So that's why everyone, I'm like, I'm going to tell you this now. Just keep it in mind, because you don't want to be so exhausted. Now, the second time around, that baby was out and I pushed 3 times.
There you go.
Just right out, because your body had a better idea of what it was supposed to do. I'm an advocate. I'm like, girl, don't put yourself through that. It's not like they're drugging you up to where you're not understanding everything that's happening around you.
Right.
You can still feel things.
Yes.
The pressure is all still there. It's just not a never ending pain.
Yeah.
It's something that I advocate, especially for first time moms. I'm like, girl, just do it.
No, seriously, that's what I would say. If I could go back and talk to my younger self, I'd be like, don't put so much pressure to do it with a midwife, because in my situation, it turns out that there was just no way I could have done it.
And thankfully you listened to your body and you were like, I just don't think.
Yeah, because I probably would have broken some sort of bone or something
100%.
if I kept going, because she was just, her head was so big and wedged in.
Oh.
I was just curious what you guys would say, but I'm so glad we're on the same page. I don't judge. Do whatever you want to do.
No, yeah, do what makes you happy.
But from my experience, get the drug.
Yes.
I was going to say, Amanda's new views on birthing is a lot like my views on Friday nights. Get the drugs, be relaxed.
It was funny. I was just going to say, Trevin, how you doing with all of this? And then you hit us with that. So you're fine.
Oh, he's vibing.
Oh, I'm doing great. Don't you worry.
Okay, so scenario 6, and this can be our last one if you want to finish up with this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You picked a name for your beloved new baby that you adore, yet family members make faces when they hear it and tell you they would have chosen a different name. What would you do?
Oh, yeah. Look, Heather, go ahead, because you wrote this for her.
I wrote it about
it's
you.
also for you though.
Okay, so I have a story for you guys.
Please tell your story,
about
Rachel,
this.
because I feel like yours is really good.
My daughter, I suck at naming things just in general. Like, I can't name an animal. I can't name anything. I overthink everything in life. That's just who I am. I'm like, I'm going to name my kid Daenerys Targaryen. Not really. But, you know, like, I'm just always thinking random nut stuff. And this one's not that much. I thought it was perfect. I wanted to name her Ryder. I loved that name. I loved it so much. And my dad, he tells me I cannot name her Ryder. And I was like, well, I actually can do whatever I want because I am me and I'm going to do that. He goes, I don't need my granddaughter in high school with all the boys telling them they're going to ride her. And I was like, Dad, what are you doing? He's like, do you want her to deal with that, saying that they're going to ride her because her name is Ryder? And I'm like, oh, I love this. Thank you. So
thank you for ruining a name that I loved.
Yeah, her middle name is Ryder.
Yes.
I did give in though. Part of me was frustrated with the fact that it was put out there because, as you guys can tell in this episode, she's strong as hell. If anyone ever said that to her, you know, she would handle whatever she needs to handle. But still, I was like, how did I let someone get in my head like that? But also, he's very realist, you know, and he's going to tell you how it is. And I could see that perspective. But that is her middle name.
From a comedy perspective, I totally agree with him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I did it.
It is a good name, though. It is so
pretty.
cute. And I do like it as a middle name, actually, too.
Yeah. It all flowed. Her name's fine. But
I feel like her name totally suits her.
And it does. So her name is Kenzie. And the amount of times that people will say, oh, Mackenzie. And I'm like, no, she's not off the dollar menu at McDonald's. It's just Kenzie. I dropped it, you know. And they were like, oh, okay. Or they'll call her Mackenzie to her face. And she's like, that's not my name. It's Kenzie.
And that's what it is legally?
Yeah, Kenzie Ryder. Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, I love that too.
Yeah.
Doesn't it just flow?
It does.
Yes.
It's beautiful. I love it.
It's because I didn't name it. Name it. I didn't name her. I got Ryder, but her dad chose her name.
Oh, okay, Heather. So you have a story too?
Mm-hmm.
So our first daughter, I knew from very early on that I wanted to name her Evelyn. I have an aunt named Evelyn. I've always just been in love with the name. Always thought it was so beautiful. And then when we were talking like nicknames, I was like, well, I want to call her Evie. And everyone's like, Evie. And I'm like, no. Evie, because it's not Evelyn, it's Evelyn, like Evie. And still to this day, she gets a lot of Evie, but I'm like, you know, Rachel's daughter, she can make the decision to say if she would rather be called Evelyn, Evie, whatever.
Yeah.
So my husband picked the middle name for her, and he chose to name after his grandmother. So I found this out after the fact, and it really like frustrated me because he said he wanted to use his mom's name as her middle name, but he has an older sister who wasn't done having kids yet. And so he's like, well, if she wants the name, I don't want to take it from her. I'm like, it's your child.
Yeah.
And who cares if it's a middle name? That's a thing. Like there's families where all of the cousins have the middle name of the grandmother or grandfather, like whatever. Yeah. But I found it out after the fact, whatever. I'm fine with it. Then the second one rolls around and it's not as clear what we want to name her. We were going through it and she has a very uncommon name. So my second daughter, her name is Temperance.
Ooh.
Yes, we love it. And then when it came to the middle name, again, my husband's like, well, now I want to use my mom's middle name because now his sister is done having kids and she had 2 boys. So she's not going to use it. And then it turned into this whole big battle because my mom got mad that we used 2 middle names from his family. No. And she's like, well, what about me? Because this is the thing. My mom doesn't go by her given name. She uses her middle name because she doesn't like her first name.
You're not even using it. Yeah.
What do you want me to do? I remember literally being pregnant, super pregnant, in the grocery store, in Ralph's, my hormonal, emotional self, literally on the phone with my mom. I'm crying because she's upset that we are not using any kind of name associated with her. And I was just like, you're still going to be just as important in her life. It was rough. And with Temperance, people, they either have that reaction, wow, that's really pretty, like, and some people are like, what? And I'm like,
yeah,
don't worry about it.
Like, it's all fine.
It's all
Keep
fine.
walking.
Exactly. I'm so glad you asked this question because when you were talking about like, would you tell the gender? Would you do a gender reveal? There's just as much upheaval about babies' names that do not come from the parents. And I'm kind of like, get out of here.
Exactly.
You're not
it's like,
this.
it's just another thing that people get so invested in. And I'm like, oh,
totally.
that's funny. You thought I cared, but like,
You were wrong.
Totally.
It's like an attack on tradition if you're not going to stick with something normal, or in your case, if it really is a tradition.
Yeah.
I kind of had similar experiences to both of you because I really loved the first name Faye, like Faye.
So cute.
Yeah.
But then when I got married, our last name is Rose. And my brother pointed out to me that if her name was Faye and her last name was Rose, then it sounds kind of like Faye Rose, like Egypt, like Egyptian pharaohs.
I did not think that.
So then I just couldn't get that out of my mind. So
oh no.
I ended up not naming either of my daughters Faye, but I still love that name so
It's
much.
beautiful.
With my first daughter, Lila, is what we went with. And that was pretty chill. I mean, we had to pick a bunch of different names because we didn't know the genders either time. But Lila, June, Rose, but our youngest, we named her Winnie because my whole pregnancy I was craving Winnie Palmer's like sweet tea and lemonade. And I love the name Winnie. A lot of people think we named her after Winnie the Pooh, or they think that her full name is like Winifred. And I'm like, no, it's just Winnie, kind of like the Kinsey thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But a lot of people hated her name. A lot of older people, a lot of people on my husband's side of the family apparently were saying they didn't like Winnie's name. But her name is Winnie Rain Rose. And we love it and love her.
I love
Beautiful.
it.
And it fits her so good, but not everyone's going to be happy, and I don't care.
No.
Yeah, seriously.
If it fits your baby and you're
Yeah.
good with it, then that's all that
Exactly.
matters.
I just don't understand why other people.
Have the nerve.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who do you think you are?
Right.
I don't understand why you like have your opinion. Everyone has opinions. I'll skip saying that they're like assholes part.
Oh, but they are.
I mean, they are. But like the audacity to let it be known to the parent, like, I don't like the name you chose for
yeah.
your child. Are you joking?
You're almost trying to bully them into changing it.
Exactly. It's not nice at all.
Yeah. Could you imagine? I don't like you, Grandma.
Yeah. Like, Grandma, I don't like your name.
Sorry.
Okay, Esther, keep it
Yeah.
to yourself.
Yeah, Broomhilda, what the fuck? Get out of here.
No offense to any Esthers or Broomhildas out there.
Yeah.
It's
We
fine.
stan you. Broomhildas, please don't hate us.
Just don't touch our bump. Don't tell us to know what our gender is. Like, don't ask us these things.
I think one thing I'm learning on this motherhood episode is just the importance of boundaries and
Yes.
how much that
Yeah.
can really make things easier. And
Big
communication, too. We've noticed that setting the boundaries with the communication.
For sure, Trevin.
Love it.
Very insightful.
Mhm.
He was listening, ladies.
Ding, ding, ding,
Okay.
ding.
Yes.
Well, this has been so much fun. Like we said, we just wanted to have basically a round table of motherhood discussion and switch it up this week, something that throughout the years of us doing this show, we've never done. And I'm so glad we got to do it with you both.
I love
This
that.
is
Thank you so much.
awesome.
I know.
Yes.
I don't want it to end.
It's so funny because before we were officially like Mother Like Murder, we were technically Wine Time, and we did both motherhood and crime topics because we loved both topics.
Yeah. This makes me miss that.
And I was just saying, I was like, it kind of reminds me because we did a whole birthing episode. Like, we got a bunch of people's birthing stories and talked about it. We talked about weird things that happen with your kids. I mean, and not that we still don't love motherhood talk, clearly. We could do this all day. But we kind of just like, let's focus in on the true crime part. We did an official name change and everything like that. But this is like bringing me back to those days. This is amazing.
I love it. I think it's just good for the soul, you know?
Totally.
I think it's necessary, especially if you have a lot of listeners that like you as people and not just the fact that you cover the crime thing. I would lean into the mother part.
Yeah.
I do miss it. I tell her all the time, I'm like, can we start another one? Can we start?
Or
Can we start
Patreon
it?
at least.
Mhm.
We've talked about adding that in there and having some mom talk in there as well. So
Yeah.
we shall see.
I'm sure you'd have something to say each and every week.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, speaking of your Patreon, would you guys like to take this time to do a plug for your show?
Sure. Okay. She went first, so I'll
Yeah,
go this
your
time.
turn.
So we are like Mother Like Murder. You can find us wherever you guys get your podcast. We do not have Patreon, but we do have a supporters club, and it's through Spreaker. And so that's in our show notes. So if you guys go there and check us out and you do like what we do, like Heather said earlier, all of our content is mom related. We do cover a lot of heavy topics, and it's very important to us to like spread that information and share about unsolved and missing moms and all of that kind of stuff. But we don't want to change the fact that we're fun and happy and loving, and we bring a lot of lighthearted stuff too. And so if you guys want to check us out, we're Like Mother, Like Murder.
Amazing.
Come on over.
You bring a lot of personality to your social media a lot too.
I try.
That's all Rachel. Rachel's
very hard.
the social media queen there. Every once in a while you'll see my face, and it's only because Rachel made me do it.
Yeah, that's about how I am when it comes to us taking
With
photos,
pictures, yeah.
which we need to do today.
We need to take a picture today, Trevin.
Do it.
We have not gotten a picture in so long. People are starting to forget what we look like.
Get a
Yeah,
picture
there was
now.
like, now that we released the videos, people are like, oh, I thought you were brunette. Somebody thought I was Asian once.
Oh my God.
But nothing wrong with that. That just shows how much I wasn't putting myself out there, and I got to change that.
No, literally. When I saw recently, someone was like, I thought you were both brunette. I was like, we have to show our faces more. This is getting wild.
Totally.
Yeah.
Make it happen. And also, I mean, yeah, check us out. But thank you guys so much for having us. I have been looking forward to this for so damn long.
Oh my gosh. Of
So
course. It was so good meeting you in person. It's so good to have you on as guests. We'll definitely have to do something else in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah, we would love to have
Definitely.
you guys on. I just got to plan something.
Yes,
Yeah.
anytime. Just let us know. And I hope that all of our listeners out there are just having the best week. And remember, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we're all doomed.
Doomed to get into Florida February next week.
Yes.
Bye.
See ya.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this special Dry January episode. If you'd like more bonus content and ad-free episodes, join our Patreon. Get in on the conversation in our official Doomed Crew Facebook group, or follow us on any of our socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or Threads. Have a petty crime of your own that you want told on the show? Email us at livelaughlarceny@gmail.com. And give our show 5 stars wherever you rate podcasts, Apple, Spotify, or Good Pods. It really helps.